All right, looks like we're live. So, hey everyone, I'm Prabhas back again. And this week we have special guest Suhail. He is a cloud consultant at Arinco. I don't know how you pronounce it. Uh,
Yeah, you got
so,
that right.
sorry?
You got that right.
Yeah, So he's a good friend of mine. We've been working together for quite some time. We've known each other for longer than that. But yes, I'll let him introduce himself. So Swell, on to you.
Thanks, Pravesh. Thanks for having me. Bear with me. I haven't done anything like this in the past. So yeah,
Neither have I. Neither have I.
yeah, it's something new to me, but yeah, I'll try my best to answer any of your questions. Hi guys, my name is Suhail Nepal. I am based in Melbourne. I am currently working as a cloud consultant at Erinco. So we are a Microsoft Power partnered company. We primarily deal with Azure and anything like, Microsoft related Azure stuff, especially around identity, security, AI, and Azure in general. I've been in the cloud space for nearly 4 years. I started working in AWS. I'm working on AWS technology, and then I kind of moved into Azure. So looking forward to having this conversation with you.
Yeah, just to let everybody know, even if he's working is in cloud for just like past 4 year, he has like a diverse set of skills and background and industry experience. So it's way a lot. What do you call it, bigger than that? And now how do you say it? So yeah, welcome as well. It's nice to have you. I'm sure like we will go through a lot of interesting things. So the goal, like today's main agenda is how can somebody get into cloud computing? Like if somebody just graduated from the uni or somebody just graduated from their college and everywhere, like how do you think people like, so we will be talking about how you can actually prepare your resume and like do the mini projects or side projects and how they can get into cloud computing and actually land a job as a cloud engineer. So
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, so before I go there, I'll probably share my journey because I think it's very it would be
yeah,
very relevant
we,
if I
we
do
would
that.
love to hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I started my journey into cloud as a very traditional sysadmin from a very traditional sysadmin role. So I was doing a bit of Windows sysadmin, Linux sysadmin, and then kind of got interested into cloud. So for me back then, the place where I was working, they were heavy into AWS. So that's how I got into AWS. But then slowly I realized within AWS, I was working more on the Microsoft tech stack. So then I started looking into Azure and then moved into Azure space. But then there are multiple avenues you can choose from. So I've seen people who come directly from uni as a grad and come into cloud engineering. I've seen people like me, like who kind of come from sysadmin role. Similarly, I've seen people who come from completely different background, like network engineering or even hardcore dev into cloud computing as well. So yeah, there's no barrier as such as to like how do you enter into cloud. Uh, it just depends on like how you prioritize things and what are the kind of things that it's important to kind of break in. Yeah, so that's yeah, but then we can start for a grad, right? So for a grad, I would say, I mean, before before we even talk about that, I would say there's plenty of opportunity for cloud computing at the moment. There's a lot of jobs in DevOps. So I'm based in Australia, so I'm talking in Australian market space at the moment. So there's still plenty of jobs and a lot of opportunities in cloud. So for a grad, what I would suggest is I always back in the days when I started in cloud, like certification was such a big thing, but
Yeah,
now I realized,
I get like I
yeah,
am not a big fan of certifications. I
y-
used to do it, but then later like it just I don't know, for some reason I'm not now, like I don't fancy search anymore.
yeah, absolutely. Like same with me as well. Uh, I mean, not a big fan of memorizing things, and it just feels like you have to memorize a lot of things, and just
Yeah.
kind of dump.
And also
But
what I thought think is like I don't know, like there are two sides of story, right? If you certification helps you gaze like it doesn't helps you gauge the level of competency. Like you could go about doing all level of certifications, but there are like thousands of or hundreds of dumps available right now to, like you could just study for a month or two and then and pass it. So
Absolutely,
that
absolutely.
like that concept of, okay, I'll study for a month and then pass the exam, and by the time you pass the exam, now you get the feeling of, okay, I know, or I like fully know the cloud and the intricacies of it, and kind of I feel like it fuels the imposter syndrome as well. However, there is
100%.
another side to this coin as well, because unless you have certs, your cert, like most of the time your resume as a graduate engineer would not even be shortlisted by the system. So it's kind of like, what do you call, something you don't want to do but have to do.
Mhm.
So
That's that's right. And I've noticed that, like, these days, like when you look for cloud engineer roles, like in the job description, like, cert is like, added there. Like it just says having a cert is an advantage. And I've noticed that. And that is still fine, right? But I've seen places where, the recruiters, they just call you and they just say, have you got this cert? And there's like a checklist. And if you don't have it, like, you are immediately out. So again, right, that kind of thing. I mean, it was pretty strict. I mean, like people used to look at it very strictly back then, but now I think people have moved on.
mhm.
But again, coming back to certs, advantage and disadvantage of cert, I've got entry level certs in like both AWS and Azure, and I felt that was kind of helpful for me in a way that, from AWS coming into Azure, I wanted to understand the Azure services. So, even though the concept fundamentals are exactly the same or similar, like, things, some of the things are different, right? So I wanted to understand those kind of things. So the entry level cert kind of helped me to kind of, switch from one cloud to the other. So if you are a starter, I would definitely recommend having a cert, like at least the entry level, right? In AWS, it's called, yeah, I forgot the name. In Azure, it's called Azure Fundamentals. So yeah, that would be a good starting point, right? But that doesn't mean that, you understood cloud and, you are guaranteed a job. So I think, I mean, I've seen a trend now and it's growing, which is good. A lot of engineers these days, they have their own blogs and, they start putting projects. They've got their own GitHub profile. I think that's valued a lot in the market these days. And I would highly recommend people having their own GitHub profile and, writing blogs and, kind of sharing it and posting it. Because yeah, that just shows that, you understand the concept and you've got hands-on experience as well, which is very important. Yeah, so that's that, and I've seen a trend, like, I've seen a lot of engineers doing that these days, and I think it's growing. And yeah, I think, yeah, it's really good in that sense.
Yeah, like putting yourself out in the market is always a best bet, right? Like if you
100%.
don't do anything and just send out the, like, compare two candidates who are applying for a job, and one just sends out the resume and just like that's it, and the other one which like they will send out the resume but also have good exposure or presence in the community. Obviously, people would like, it's kind of psychological as well, right? I would
Hmm.
be, I want to know what you worked on, like what you, like I don't want you like so what I'm saying is I don't want you to be an expert on it, but at least I
Hmm.
want you to know some things to fix the problem, or at least have a basic understanding of what we're trying to do. And
Yeah,
also,
absolutely.
most of some of the time you don't even need to have those skills, right? If you could just
Hmm.
prove that you are good enough to upskill by yourself and then solve a particular problem, or at least ask for help when it's needed, then that's a good, like, what do you call, that's a good position to be in.
No, that's true. That's true. I do agree. And I also feel that it helped. I mean, it kind of helped me during the interview process as well, right? So let's say, for example, I'm applying for a role and they need this thing. And I've got hands-on experience on that, either at work or it could be side project or something like that. When I've done hands-on, when I've got my hands dirty in those particular technology and skills, it just, I'm just so confident talking about it. I'm so much passionate talking about it, right? So it just kind of helps me as well. So yeah, I mean, and and even with me, right, when I've taken interviews as well, and when I take interviews, I always, I mean, that's just me. I try to ask very open-ended question because I just wanted to see, like, how deep the engineer, like, the other candidate go to answer those questions. And I feel I've personally seen that, when they've got hands-on experience, I mean, you see that excitement first, you see that confidence, and you can tell that, that person, like, goes in really deep to kind of explain things to you. Like just a simple example, right? I sometimes ask, like, you wanna host a website. Where do you start? Like from start, buying a domain to hosting it. Where do you go? How do you do it? So yeah, I mean, and then the way they explain it to me, I can really judge to see, like, where that person really stands. So it's really good in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, look, yeah, having a presence is always good. Like,
Mm,
market yourself, right? Always, there is a saying, right? Always be selling yourself.
100%.
Even if you are not selling yourself, like always try to sell yourself. So we got our first question from Pawan. I'll
Okay.
just put it in the screen. So yeah, his question is how to land a first job as a DevOps and cloud, or as a DevOps engineer or cloud consultant. I think
Absolutely.
he meant to say that. So
Absolutely.
for a graduate, like let's take somebody, let's take an example, like somebody who just got graduated from their university. What would be the first, like first thing that you suggest them to do, like immediately
Absolutely.
after graduating?
The first thing I would suggest them to do is, like, have a goal, like, to see, like, a goal and understand why they want to be a cloud engineer, right? First, a goal, and in goal in the sense that, they want to be a cloud engineer, but then also explain, like, why they want to be a cloud engineer. Like, is this something that they're interested in? Is it something because, there's a lot of opportunities in the market? Just try to understand, right? Second thing is, I'm talking more from an Australian market concept. Like, AWS, there are three major players like AWS, Azure, and GCP. I would pick one as a starting point, right? You can, I mean, you cannot go wrong with either or, depending on what your interest is. And I mean, and it depends on the company as well, like where you're working on. Let's say you're working for, I mean, let's say, for example, you're working for a company which is heavy on AWS. I would probably pick AWS because, you will have that support, guidance, and mentorship within the company. So I'll probably pick one cloud provider, and then I'll do an entry level search just to try to understand the concept.
Yeah, let's
Just
share the screen. I think it will be much easier.
okay, okay,
I will move it here. Give me a second. I'm also new to this stuff, so
yeah, absolutely, take your time.
I okay, we are ready. So yeah, first
Oh,
thing would you like? First thing would what do you suggest is
uh,
pick a I'll just
can
write
you
it.
type? Yeah, just type it. Yeah, it's
Pick
easy.
a cloud provider
Yeah,
and be good at it. First
absolutely.
thing.
And, like, be very take your time into picking a cloud provider. Like, because, you might be interested in Azure, but the company that you're working for at the moment could be doing AWS, right? So be very, like, be like, just kind of be selfish and think about, like, like, what will help you, like, when you're starting out, right? uh Second thing is, do an entry level cert.
Oh, okay.
Complete. And
That's a
yeah,
good advice.
yeah,
Yeah. So you could add on like entry
yeah,
level. What are the like trending from like since you have been working in the industry for a long time?
uh,
I can
yeah,
think of is like
in
AWS,
Azure it's called,
GCP.
Azure Fundamentals. uh I forgot what it's called, in AWS. It's been a
Yeah,
while.
it's sort practitioner, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Basically, like
Yeah,
the second thing that you would need to do is get a entry level certification, which is
absolutely.
a valid one. It like for a graduate, like unlike senior who always is like senior or mid level or somebody who has already working in the industry for quite some time, they their past experience and knowledge is good enough to show that they know the stuff or can pick it up. But for a student, it's kind of difficult, right? You don't have experience,
Mm,
and also like you need to sell yourself saying I can learn or I know the stuff. So having
Mm.
an entry level cert is definitely a good idea.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And like, you will understand, like, this, like, like there's so many small things, right? When you go on a meeting, right? And people talk about different cloud, and they use the jargons, they use the terminology. And like, if you have done the search, if you understand the fundamentals, the basic, you are able to participate more, you are able to understand things much better. I mean, that's how I kind of think, and it kind of helped me in a way.
Yeah,
The Yeah, sorry, go on. You're saying something?
that is a really like good point as well. Like
Mm.
making yourself known within the team, at least you need to have some level of like fluency on the tech itself to put in your opinion or idea, so that
Yeah,
like
that's
even
right.
if if it's not the best, at least you tried. That is what actually matters, right?
That's true. That's true. And like you might not even like contribute, right? But at least you don't want to go in a meeting and like just be silent. Like you want to participate and you want to kind of like you want to be there. You know what I mean?
Then
But anyways, there's multiple ways to look at it. But like
yeah.
this kind of things kind of helped me. So I'm just sharing my experience in that sense.
So
The
well, like
third thing.
once they get the search, what would be the
mm,
next step? What do you think they
The
should be doing?
the other thing is I would probably do a project, right? So there's a very like good project called Azure Cloud Resume Challenge. So
Mm.
it yeah. So
Cloud
there's plenty
resume
of challenge. Yeah,
challenge.
there's plenty of yeah. That's right. So there's plenty of examples for both like on all three platforms. So basically,
Interesting.
it kind of checks your skills on multiple things. Like you have to understand a bit of cloud fundamentals. You have to understand a bit of infrastructure as a code, deploying via pipeline, a bit of
Oh,
scripting, bit of programming, and bit of serverless as well.
nice, nice. This
Yeah,
is
and
really good.
yeah, and it's entry level. Like it's not nothing fancy. And if you get stuck, like there are plenty of like YouTube videos or articles, Medium articles, even this. There's actually a book on this too.
Well, this is
Yeah,
really nice.
it's very popular among like people starting on cloud, and that's how I kind of got into Azure as well. This was my first Azure project.
Oh, you actually went through all the challenges mentioned here.
No, I've done the Azure challenge. I mean, when I was in Edelweiss, I wanted to come into Azure, and I did the Azure challenge. So that was my first Azure kind of project.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, once they have the like, okay, now like let's retrace our step. Somebody
Mm.
just graduated from like you, right? So I'll just say you, uni grad, and the first thing they would do is pick up a cloud provider and be good at it. And the
Hmm.
second thing they would do is get some entry level certs to
Mm.
show or express to like show it to your HR that you have the certifications. And the second
Yep.
thing, the third thing you would do is get actually some hands-on experience with real world projects using like something like cloud resume challenge. So
Yep.
now, like, what do you think that would be the next step?
I would say
I
after
can
that,
add
like,
here as well one like once like
go
okay,
on.
once you have the knowledge and experience or kind of entry level experience, right? I would suggest to reach out to people, reach out and ask for review.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%.
So whatever you are doing here, if you keep on asking for review and asking for like asking people who are already experienced in the field, saying how can I make it even better. Like just an
Mm.
example, if we go here, right? Let's
Mm.
do infrastructure as code. It's just Azure. Oh,
So as
it's
part
just,
of this,
it's, yeah.
you have to write a blog post.
Sorry.
As part of this challenge, right? You have to write a blog post at the
Ah,
end, and
nice.
then you have to publish your like source code as well in GitHub somewhere.
Yeah, I would
Uh,
recommend, like, highly recommend to like do this challenge, and also while doing this, find somebody who is already working in the field, and like like ask him or everybody, like ask anybody who would be interested to for a review. Like if you write
mm,
HTML code, ask a web developer for a review. If you write a DNS, ask SRE, DevOps, system admin, anybody. So like having like that feedback loop where you continuously try to improve yourself is the only way you can actually succeed in the field. So
That's true.
yeah, one thing you mentioned here was writing blog posts.
Mm.
Not
Yeah,
everybody
that
is fluent on speaking, right? Even myself, I don't think I am too fluent on English. However, I love to write
same.
blogs. I love to write
Mm.
blogs. Like it's much easier. Like I make typos, that is a different story. How, however, I like to share my findings and blogs. uh, my thought process of sharing and writing always has been like there will be small subset of people who will be facing the same issue, and my goal
Mm.
is to help them. That's it. Like I don't want to help everybody, it's just that subset of people. If they were able to solve the problem in x amount of time and compared to like less than mine, which is less than mine, then it's a win, right? It's a win. So
Mm.
and also like
That's
writing blogs, it gives you more exposure as well. People will read your blog, they will give you feedback, some people
mm.
even comment. So it's a good way to place yourself in the
That's right.
market.
That's right. I just want to add one more point there, right? Writing blog these days is not really hard, right? I mean, back in the days, like, you had to host your own website or, you had to host something on your own. But these days, like things like Medium or even
Medium,
like Hashnode or
hashtag, yeah.
like there's so many channels, like, where you can
You
just pretty
can
much just
actually
publish it.
post article on LinkedIn as well.
100%. Yeah, I've seen
for,
people
for,
doing that
for
too.
some time I actually posted my articles on LinkedIn before I moved into Medium.
Yeah,
So
that's true. Yeah. So it's not hard to kind of make your own blog post, and like you can pretty much customize the URL as well as per your username and all that. It just makes it easy to put that on your CV.
yeah. So okay, like our hypothetical student who just graduated did all of this. Now
Mm.
what would be the next step? I can think of really critical thing that needs to do.
Yeah, go on.
Attend meetups.
Yep, yep.
Attend meetups, network as much as you can.
Yeah, network, network, network. That's the
Yeah.
goal.
So the more people you meet, the more like the more people will know you are actually in the market. And also the also like attending meetup, you get to hear different experiences as well, right? People's
Yeah.
experience, and they will give you more suggestions.
Yeah, that's right. And it's not just that, right? As part of Meetup, like, there's like a networking session at the end. You go ahead and like, hang out with a lot of other people. You tell them, hey, I'm a new grad. Hey, I'm looking for a job. I've got interest in this, that, I mean, would you have anything like, I've seen people doing that and there's nothing wrong about it.
Yeah, I would not directly go about saying, okay, I'm looking for a job, could you have
I mean,
anything.
I've done that
I would
personally, but
rather
yeah.
I would rather phrase it as I would rather phrase it as like, oh, like obviously follow the person who you are planning to talk to and see their
Mm,
past work and previous work, and start the small talk or conversation from there. Like, hey, I read your
mm,
article on this and I really loved about it, and I like that this like I like this portion of it, and I like my opinion on this is this. What do you think? And then I think we could do
mm,
it even better, and then that would make the person interested in you as well. Like it will make
mm.
them interested in yourself,
Yep.
and then you can once you build a rapport, you can actually throw it in. I'm actually like looking for a job. If your company is hiring, please do let me know. That way you don't come directly at it saying give me a job. It's more like, here are the things I can
Hmm.
talk, and I can
Hmm.
articulate my thought process to you. And what do you
Yep.
think about? What do you think? Like, would if your company was hiring, would you
Hmm.
like hire me? Like stuff, right?
Yep. Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, this could be funny, but I kind of like it. Like a lot of people have that QR code of their LinkedIn profile on the back of the phone.
That's a
Especially
really genius idea.
yeah,
I should have
especially
mine as
students.
well.
Yeah,
That's a good
especially stu
idea. That's a good idea. Really good idea.
yeah, especially students and people who are looking out for new roles. Yeah, they wanna like meet as many people as possible and
That's
network with
kind
people.
of
So they kind
ingenious.
of they're like, can you please add me? And I've seen people doing that. I know, it's just nice. I mean, I kind of like it.
That's very, like that's it, like if I was the person who, like, suppose if you ask me saying, could you give me your LinkedIn, I'll add you. Then if you showed me the
Mm.
QR code, that would be like, we 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 jump so many hoops, right? I would asking what's your name, and there is a
Yeah, exactly.
communication gap. We can't like
Mm.
properly pronounce things as well, right? And some
Yeah.
of the pronunciation that we do is does not align with the other person's. And
Mm.
basically we are trying to communicate more effectively, which shows kind of, it shows it's good sign, and like it's a good
Y-
prospects. I
Yeah,
like
that's right. And it
LinkedIn
just shows that you are proactive too. Yeah, it just shows that you are proactive as well,
I
right?
like this. I'll
Mm.
definitely do this from now.
Yeah. I haven't personally done it, but I've seen people doing it, right?
This is like kind of nice. You are,
Yeah.
this is, I really love it.
I can add one more in that. I don't want to make this list too long as well, like,
No, no,
but
we
I
can
probably
go as much as we want. So
okay.
our goal is to provide as much information as we can today, so that
Hmm.
people can go off and use this information to land a role in cloud, like land a role as a cloud engineer.
Mm,
So you
100%.
like, we don't have to, there is no obligation to keep it short. We can make
Mm,
it as long as we want. I'll share it with in LinkedIn as well with everyone. So
hmm.
yeah.
Yep, no, that's good. So, the other thing I would probably want to add, is like, I follow a lot of people, right? Like, who are into Microsoft, like Microsoft Azure, MVPs, or, who write a lot of blogs, either on Twitter or LinkedIn, or sorry, call it X these days, LinkedIn, and then see what they've been doing, like, the blogs that they've been writing. I mean, even if you don't understand, just read through it. Just try to understand what is the trend. Like, at the moment, like, if you are in Azure space, everyone is talking about OpenAI, Copilot, like, so just see what the trend is, like, where people are heading, what are the kind of projects people are doing, right? It just kind of, you just know, like, where the trend is going.
Mm.
It depends
Follow
whether you want to
follow the
follow the
trend.
trend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you.
exactly, exactly. Right. And similarly, I would probably there are list of blogs that I kind of read as well. So I kind of follow them, like like blogs by Cloudflare or like AWS, those kind of blogs. I kind of read just to understand. I mean, I kind of like it because the way they write blogs is like really amazing. It's very detailed. But I kind of follow those blogs as well. That's just me.
I personally do the same as well. Till this day, like my I like reading a lot of code. So most of the time I am on my computer. I go through GitHub. I follow a couple of industry leaders whom like I look up to, and see how
Hmm.
they work, their work style, how they code, how they even declare a variable, every single thing. So, and shadow them. Like as a graduate, or if you are learning, just shadow the leaders. Like,
Mm,
don't idolize. Like, one thing that I would really say to people who are starting in the industry is, do not idolize any people. Everybody, like, at the end of the day, they are just humans. You are also a human. They are an expert in the field. However, they are not, like, what do you call, do not, I would not idolize it, because it will lead you to a disappointment. That's
mm,
the short way to put it. So
yep.
however, what I would suggest is, go follow their work, what they have done,
Mm,
like what kind of code they write, what kind of project they are doing. And then, so those things would add up, like it will add up, and effectively improve you, as you, like obviously it will you will start drifting into the same direction.
true, true. I've got a question for you there. Like, when you say people, you even follow a certain individual, right? So let's say, for example, I know you are big on Golang and, Linux and all that stuff. So do
Mm.
you kind of, I mean, look for people who've done Golang, or, or do you just look for people in general?
So try to bucket things that I want to learn,
Okay.
and time box it. So suppose, okay, so this year I want to learn Rust, right? Suppose I want to learn Rust. Then one weekend I will create a short list of people who have done really good in Rust, or are really good Rust programmer. and I will shadow their work. A lot of time, what has really helped me is I see their contribution in like PRs in GitHub and try to replicate it. I will not see their actual work, but I will try to replicate on my local machine and
Mm,
see how much, like how good mine is compared to them. Obviously it will not be right, obviously it will not be,
mm,
but now you have something to review your code work against. That is a must. Like, I'll show you an example. Like,
yep.
let's go to GitHub and I will let's find somebody who is good in Golang. I just go. I don't know if I can share this. Okay, I'll go here. I'll find somebody. Okay, and he's JavaScript developer. I need to find somebody who's good in Golang. Okay, I'll go here. Let's see the comments. Okay, some random person, but looks like
Mm,
he's a open source developer. Lucky us. So what I would do is if I'm following him, I would
mhm,
see his PRs, right?
mhm,
I'll go here, look into pull requests, and see the closed PRs. Now I see this issue. Fix JSON schema about severities. I'll read
mm,
through the issue and try to replicate it myself on my local machine. I'll clone this repo. I'll try to replicate it. I'll not do a PR because I know my code is not up to the standard
mm,
to which like they would approve. But I am learning, right? The goal is learning, not to show or not to commit. Obviously, if you can
mm,
commit, that's a big deal. But
yep.
I would go here and then see, okay, what kind of change the person did. In this one, they didn't do anything. So I will actual. What kind of, is there any kind of feet? All the linters on there. I'll see the closed one.
So basically, it's more
Yeah,
about
basically what I'm saying, trying to say is try to replicate this.
yep,
Now
that's right.
what would happen is, what do you call, now you know how people who shadow other, like how the industry leaders or somebody who has been good, who has good experience in particular set technology is working. Now you can try to s- replicate how they work until
Mm,
you are good enough to become, like, have your own opinion at it. That is
absolutely.
the key skills. So
Mm,
Pawan has left a lot some comments. I really
yeah.
appreciate. Thank you so much, Pawan. So we'll go through all of it. So what he mentioned is, uh, yeah, okay, this is a good question. I thought as a DevOps engineer, we need knowledge of Terraform, Docker, Kubernetes, and so on to be sellable at a company. So
Mhm.
what do you think, Suhail? What do you think about this?
Oh, see, definitely. Like, the three things that you mentioned there, I mean, yeah, it's definitely out, like, is used by a lot of companies, like, a lot of DevOps, like companies practicing DevOps. But I wouldn't just jump into like all of three things at one. Like, I would probably pick one, be good at it, and then move on to other, right? Let's say, for example, Terraform. Terraform is huge. Like, if you are a cloud infrastructure engineer, like, you spend a lot of time on Terraform. Try to do Terraform, like, just be good at it, like, be very comfortable doing it, do your deployments via pipeline and all that kind of stuff, and then move on to Docker. Like, let's say, for example, you have application you want to host it under Docker, then, then work on Docker. And then once you are at a stage you are comfortable at it, then go into Kubernetes, right? So that would be my trick, right? I mean, I'm the same, right? I get excited by technology, don't get me wrong. Like, I want to learn everything. I want to do everything, right? But I just feel like when you are starting out, just pick one, be good at it, and then be comfortable, then move on to other, right? Because you might be going into a company that might be using all three, or you might be going to a company where they might use Terraform or just Docker. So
Yeah.
just because you've got all the skills doesn't mean like you are sellable, right? Um, the tool
Yeah.
that you're using, you just have to be good at it. I would say that would be my suggestion.
Also, like, you don't have to know all the tech, right? All the tools used in the market. Pick, like, there are some union or subset that where everything aligns. Like, you can learn Ansible, right? You can
Yep,
learn Docker, you can learn
yep,
Kubernetes, you can learn AWS, you can learn Terraform. And
yep,
that is like, this is the minimum set of what do you call, technology stack that you, as a DevOps engineer, you would use day in day out. Terraform for infrastructure as code, Ansible for configuration as a code, Docker for
yep.
containerization, Kubernetes for orchestration, and AWS for cloud. This is the
I
only
wouldn't
thing that
even
you
I wouldn't even go there, Pravesh. Like, I would probably take one step backwards.
back as in.
Back as in like, if you are starting out, right, I feel like, basics of scripting, programming, like understanding how, like, how to write a code, programming, scripting, understanding networking fundamentals, understanding sysadmin fundamentals, understanding cloud fundamentals, those kind of things are much more
Yeah,
relevant
this
with,
is, I agree. I really agree
yeah.
on this one. Like, this
Mm,
is not the first thing that you should be doing. Like,
mm,
what I was trying to say was, if you want to pick up some tools, these are the tools
mm,
that you might want to pick up. However,
yeah.
um,
Mm,
if you want to get into good at cloud, or
mm,
good at cloud computing, there are other
mm,
things that you could do. That
yep,
I
yep,
agree, completely agree. Like, try to
yeah.
focus on how things work rather than,
Mm.
like, if you know base, like, if you have a strong foundation or base, then it will be much easier to pick up any of these tools.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. And Pawan, like, what I would suggest is, if you wanna like learn two or three different technologies or tech stack together, I'll probably do a project. Think about a project. If you want, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn and we can maybe do a project together, whatever it is. Think about a project where you can utilize multiple tools. That way, you'll have an interest, you'll have an end goal on what you want to do. Plus, you will have an interest, and plus you'll be learning like you'll be learning different technologies, right? It's not like where you are learning Ansible 101 and then finishing the video. For me, that's not how I learned that. It
Yeah,
gets very
learn
boring.
by doing, right?
Yeah, doing. So do a project like, where you think, uh, like, you can utilize multiple technologies. And if you want ideas on what kind of project you want to do, reach out to me and, we can maybe work on it together. We can just open up a GitHub repo and then maybe work on it together if you want.
So we have another question as well. I'm loving the comments and questions you are asking, Pawan. Like, this definitely shows that you are like passionate about what you're like
Absolutely,
going
absolutely.
through. So
Yeah.
this is
So
nice.
yeah, yeah, no, I do agree. I mean, it's a it's a fact, and it is true. Like, associate roles we don't see much these days. I mean, back in the days there were a lot. A lot of companies they want to hire people who are experienced. That is that. But at the same time, there's definitely ways to kind of enter in, right? Before we even go there, I would say, like, like, like I've in like in the Australian job market, right? This is my opinion. I see like three different kind of domain that you can enter in. One is consulting, where I've been kind of working in for last 3 or 4 years. So in consulting space, there are more jobs in comparison to other. There are a lot of companies as well. There's pros and cons of working in different domain, but yeah, consulting is one that you can look into. Again, there are big consulting, small consulting, like, multinational, small, very small consulting. I work in consulting where there was a team of four. So different kind of consulting, right? Second is uh, enterprise, and which also includes government, like, both level of government and council as well. So this is a relatively small, in comparison to consulting. Third domain I would look for is product. Uh, I haven't really worked in product personally, but that's, yeah, a lot of people kind of work in that avenue as well. That's also relatively small in comparison to enterprise and consulting. All right. So in my personal opinion, right, if you are a graduate or if you are an associate level, there are a lot of opportunities in consulting, right? So let's say, like, the big consulting firm. I used to work at KPMG before, so I can talk about KPMG. So recently, I was reading a LinkedIn post where they said KPMG hired 600, 700 grads this year, which
Dang,
is an amazing number. Yeah, I mean, that's a really good
that's nice.
contribution to
That's
the.
nice.
Yeah,
Like, in
exactly.
this
Yeah,
current
that's really
market,
good.
this is nice.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, if you are into like look out for like big consulting firms, like they always have graduate role available. Even if you don't get a graduate role, look for internships as well. Keep in mind, like the graduate role, like kind of like let's say for example, it's 2024 right now. The graduate role for 2025 is already open, right? So they do things like And the best thing about these consulting firms is that, as an international student, right, most of these consulting firms, they don't really have a visa requirement. So even international students or who are on temporary visa can apply for them as well. I've seen a lot of my friends who are international students, like got into these consulting firms as well. Uh, that's another thing. I mean, the trend I've seen is like, big multinational companies like, AWS or even Microsoft as well. So they don't have any visa requirement. So yeah, so that's another thing to look for as well. Like, I know it's hard as an associate. So, but then there are ways to kind of break in as well. Um, with enterprise, uh, there's slightly less, like in terms of number of jobs, slightly less than consulting. But yeah, there are ways to kind of enter in as well. Like, the best way to enter in is through graduate role and move your way up
So
if
here's
possible.
another question from him. When you say shadow, I think it is best way to learn. Obviously, yes, shadowing somebody you learn so quickly. Like I can't even emphasize it. I'm looking if anyone can provide me opportunity to shadow, maybe small DevOps real world tasks. So this is where yes, I would definitely like reach out to any of us. We could basically like sit like this and come up with a structured project for you, if
Absolutely.
you want, like super will definitely help, will guide you through it, because these are the things which are in our domain, right? It's we have been working in this industry and in this tech for some time. We can definitely help you out. So yeah, definitely reach out and let's try to let's try and plan a structured learning path for you. If you like, I know I understand, like like I used to feel the same thing when I graduated. You want to work hard, but you are so overwhelmed with all the things happening around, like even if here you are like seeing domain consulting tools, scripting, every single thing, right? You get overwhelmed and panic, like start to panic, right? This is where somebody needs to jump in and say it's okay, it's fine, right? It's fine, take it slow. We'll go through it together, we'll help you go through it together. So that is the key thing, like somebody needs to say it's fine, don't panic, this is how it is. Like even me, like I've been working in the industry for some time, and I even don't know some stuff on Terraform, some stuff on Docker. the, so it happens to best of us, any of us. So don't be bothered on thinking like, "Ah, okay, I need to know every single bit about it." Just know, learn enough to do your job. That's it.
Yep.
And then as the problem comes by, you can just go about implementing stuff.
Yep, 100%. And Pravesh, do you want to mention about your, the mentorship program as well in this
Yeah,
chat?
yes. Thank you so much for bringing that in. So yeah, currently I'm taking in mentees. So my plan is to get set number of mentees every year. Every year, like couple of like two, three, four, five, six. And my goal is to get on like have only three mentees for this year, and help them achieve what they are planning to do. So whether it be career growth or technical, like grow technically, or just life advice or general advice. Basically, yeah. If anybody is interested, feel free to reach out to me directly,
Hmm.
LinkedIn, Twitter, anywhere you want. So yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm the same as well. Like, you're more than happy to kind of reach out to me as well. I mean, even with Pravesh and me, right, we kind of talk pretty much almost every second day or even every day. We are working on
Yeah,
some of the side
we keep
movies.
on throwing bouncing ideas, like bouncing. So
Yeah, exactly.
so I
And for
recently was
me,
working with Terraform, and I was like, oh, we I think we discussed this last time when I was talking with Suhail, and then we jumped in a call, we discussed about it, and now we are planning to do a small mini project together to do a proof of concept of the idea that we're thinking.
exactly.
So yeah, it's kind of, it's good to bounce idea with other people and share and get feedback. Like this is what I can't emphasize it enough. Have
Yeah,
a
yeah,
continuous feedback loop. Like get the
100%.
feedback, put it inside, process it, make it better, again get the feedback, make it better, and that's how you survive in this industry, right? So hopefully,
Yeah,
yeah, I think we are already, yeah, 45 minutes past. I generally like
okay,
try to keep it 45, between 45, and we have good set of suggestions. Thank you so much,
absolutely.
Suel. This has been really good session. Like we talked about a lot of stuff, covered a lot of things, and yeah, I'll share it out with the so with everyone in LinkedIn. And yeah, if anybody has any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to any of us.
Absolutely, absolutely. I hope that was helpful. And it was a good fun. It was good fun, like, kind of listening in, talking to you. I mean, we talk every day, but like a channel like this, it's very different. And
Basically, it's
answering
trying to share
answering
what we know,
questions.
right?
Absolutely, absolutely. It's good fun. It's good fun. Thank you for having me. And as Pravesh said, if anybody had any further questions, reach out to me on LinkedIn, Twitter, or whatever platform you want to choose.
Right. Thank you so much. See you next time.
See you. Bye.
Bye bye.